Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactical Magic. This is Molly Mandelberg, your host, and we've got a really special episode. I'm guessing it might be for you. I am someone that resonates with the term DLOS, does lots of stuff. I have certifications up the wazoo. I have been to all of the training programs. I have mastered some modalities, and I know that many of you out there are on that same train. I would call us seekers of truth. I would call us often really gifted healers and support people. And it's also often true that we can get so resourced with tools that we get kind of stuck in the mud of what do I use? How do I talk about it? How do I share myself? Or even which of these modalities should I be using the most? And so I've got a really synergistic episode for you today that I'm hoping if you resonate as a seeker or a DLOS person like me, this might be the exact episode you've been looking for. So hang tight for just a sec. We'll be right back. It's not just about mastering technology. It's not just about brand or messaging. It's not just about making more money. It's about showing up in a big way so your people can find you. This is about bringing your most wild and authentic self into the hustle and grind. Welcome to Tactical Magic, a business strategies podcast for the warrior goddess entrepreneur. Awesome. Welcome back. So I've got Charmaine Diallo, founder of Recall to Truth, here with me on the line today. Founder of Recall Truth, here with me on the line today, who helps spiritually gifted people to narrow the focus of their abilities and get protected and prepared to use them. Her approach is based on the belief that people are continually searching for new modalities because they aren't exactly in their calling. Since 2018, Charmaine has helped her clients to identify and train in their specific spiritual abilities. And it gets even juicier than that, but we're going to get to that. Welcome to the show, Charmaine.
Thank you, Molly.
Awesome. I'm so glad to have you here. So, one of the things I usually ask, because there's a lot of people out there listening who are on some version of, starting their business or in that sort of murky, veiled place sometimes of where do I go now in my business? Would you just share a little bit about your own meandering journey of becoming an entrepreneur and claiming this niche as your own?
Sure. So when I first started, I was maybe like many people who are into energy healing and healing. I was very broad. I wanted to help everyone. I did not have a niche. And it was like I just helped everyone who came. I'm sure lots of people can relate to that at the beginning. And I didn't know what happened, but during some of my sessions, my abilities were starting to open up, new abilities. I started getting messages. I started finding clients with really dark, heavy energy. And I realized I couldn't find training that was appropriate. There was a limitation. Things weren't working with beliefs. There are some big modalities that are doing that now, but back then wasn't much available. Still not a lot for dark energy. So I created a modality and I've trained people in it and I use it with my clients. And that's how I got started. I just was filling a need, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. I also want to just zero in a little bit because I feel like we didn't quite touch on that you are really working with the spiritually gifted people out there and that you're working sort of in realms that not a lot of practitioners are blatantly working inside of. So will you tell us a little bit about sort of the teammates and the planes on which you're often navigating?
Sure. So definitely, I'm heavily involved with mediumship. I kind of got pulled in. Someone passed away outside my house and was waking me up for years, and I had no idea what was going on. So that's how I got into that. Then they started waking up my daughter when I wouldn't answer the phone, so to speak. They're like, "We'll get her. We'll wake up her 5-year-old." And that was, of course, a nightmare trying to explain. So I got that going. Then I found heavier energies were affecting my life, and there was witchcraft from some of my relatives, affecting them. Just it all started with things affecting me and just finding out more, getting research, not finding help, so to speak, and then also finding help that was incomplete and finding out again with the heavier energies, there's permission involved. Some of the lighter energy work, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, you don't need any permission. You just are asking to remove maybe depression or something, and that is very important work. But when you get to things that are dark, that are demonic, you need divine permission. And I was finding a lot of people were stepping into that, getting certified, but not protected. And there are serious repercussions, supernatural repercussions. And I was not okay with that. And it was like, okay, this is what I'm going to help with. And then out of the ethers, people are coming with these issues. And I thought, we're in the, Western hemisphere, we're in the United States, and all these people are coming with like witchcraft and things that you never hear of. And it's like, my so and so was in a cult, all these things. And it's like, there's a big need for this. And people are coming from other countries where they do have a big history of magic and things like that. We're all getting mixed together now with the internet, etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the need arose, and so you answered that call. I think that's
yeah.
what it sounds like from your abilities arising too, is there was a call and you decided, okay, I'll answer it, whether they made it easy to deny or they didn't. So I'm just curious because I know there's
Mhm,
people out there, there's definitely people listening who are maybe in the world of mediumship or they're already practitioners of clearing energy or
mhm,
working in those sort of, planes of existence. How
mhm.
does someone sort of self-identify that maybe there's things at play here that they haven't been able to put their finger in, or that their normal clearing tools are just not moving or budging? Like, what are the sort of symptoms or circumstances that might point to this stuff being more useful for them?
Yeah, I love that question. So for mediums, it's definitely waking up at 3 a.m. That's when the lost souls are kind of like scouting for mediums. And if you're a medium, whether you realize it or not, you have like a neon sign over your house, like, hey, there's a medium here. You can come talk to me. So they come knocking and you can't sleep. And, barring an actual health problem, that's what's going on. So I love to help people get back to sleep. But beyond that, there's a epidemic of lost souls like running loose and they're not being crossed over. So that's one issue, and that kind of will give somebody a clue. But if you're working, especially if you're an energy worker, and you keep coming across heavier energies, things you can't seem to feel the access, or things that keep repeating, like I released this thing 16 times, there are sometimes permissions in the spirit world to thwart your efforts, to make it, a nice way to say it, to kind of repeat what's happening. If you see, oh, this pattern keeps happening over and over, or you start having technical difficulties when you weren't having them before and you're trying to talk with a client, that's a major sign. And of course, dreams that are really scary. This doesn't happen to everyone, but dreams that are scary, or dreams that are super vivid, but it's like you have a dream about a castle somewhere that you've never been before, but it's like, I've been there, I feel it. Those are indications that you have a different calling.
A different calling. I just want to highlight those words. It doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong or that you're
Uh-huh.
not really good at it, but sometimes I think there are gifts that we're not acknowledging or embodying yet, and they are going to keep tapping you on the shoulder until they get, to be part of your path. That
Mhm.
it's almost like we've had lifetimes of all these different kinds of healers and energy workers and medicine people, and that those gifts want to be included if they're of use in this reality at this time on this planet. And yeah, I just love it's almost comforting to think if I have these capacities and I haven't discovered them or acknowledged them yet, they will come knocking and
Mhm.
reminding me that they want to be a part of this physical reality game and be of use. And at the same time, it's also kind of daunting to think, I have capacities that haven't even been discovered or embodied yet. Like, does the work ever end? So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, to those people who have already been on the path for a while, who are already using tools or strategies or mastering skill sets and maybe even using them with clients as their career, like
Mhm.
what kind of sort of advice or hope or solace can you give them for another fucking modality that I have to go and do now?
Well, it's that longing that they feel, right? I felt it too. It was like, yeah, I got trained in this, but I'm not satisfied. And it's like you're looking for a fix. I mean, that's not a nice way to put it, but it's like, what else can I try? And something comes across your inbox and you're like, well, running after that. When you get in your right spot, and you're using your abilities the way they're intended, you feel fine. You feel calm, you feel settled. Even if you're not doing it every day, even if it's not making you money yet, you feel settled, like I'm in the right spot, and you feel like moving forward. You don't feel like curious about other things. You
Mm,
may check it out, but you're not like, oh, is this going to make me feel settled? You're not looking for that anymore.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like a alignment sensation that comes from not like I'm in my lane, but I'm doing the work I'm on this planet to do.
There you go.
There's like a knowing in that that feels really grounded and
Mhm.
good. Yeah, I love that. What are some other things that we should, I don't know, be aware of or that those people could keep in mind to start moving towards more of that alignment or more of that embodiment of their calling?
I would always go back to your angels, whether you call them angels, whatever you want to call them. Don't get hung up on the semantics, but whoever you feel is your higher power, go to them and say, hey, I want to be led. I want it to be obvious. There's a lot of competing voices. Make it really clear for me. Drop it in my mailbox, send it to my front door, send it home with my kids, whatever. But make it obvious that this is where I'm supposed to be. And then you can put that with your knowing. And then there it's like, okay, and other things are just interesting, but they're not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say make it obvious and gentle.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah. We don't need the car accident that then, the healing of the wound is how we gained that new whatever.
Right.
That's one of the things I've added to a lot of my own asks of the
Yeah.
universe, of my teammates, of my guides, of whoever, that make it obvious, but make it gentle. Make it really
Yes.
clear to me, but do it gently. Thank you. I promise to listen.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
If you tell them you'll listen, maybe.
Yeah.
They'll make it gentle. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us, though, it was when we were younger that we had the rough ride. And now it's not so rough, it's just uncomfortable. Not that no one's having a rough time,
Yeah.
but compared to when we were younger, things were developing, it seemed like that was the time when it was like running into a pile of bricks, you know?
Yeah.
And
Totally. Yeah.
that's
I
that's the
think
experience I hear. Yeah.
Well, and I think that
Mhm.
having a traumatic or abrasive upbringing or childhood or adolescence or young adulthood
Mhm.
is, not a telltale sign of the healer, but I think that many of us start seeking tools to recover from something big that has happened. Not
Yeah.
everyone, but that is a not uncommon avenue towards this kind of work. And once we realize we can change something in ourselves, then it feels like important to help other people receive or deliver that same kind of shift once we know that we don't have to suffer that way forever.
Yeah.
That's pretty natural, I think. That's how it happened for me. I had one
Yeah.
big shift and was like, you know what? I could help people do that one thing. Let me start there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting how you think about it. I kind of went from a different way, but I still came out with I want to help people with this.
Yeah.
But mine was more I just want to learn about this. I just got really curious, and
Yeah.
that's probably where creating the modality came from. But that's exactly right. That was my first thought. Like there are other people having this problem.
Yeah.
I can't be the only one, for
Yeah,
sure.
mine started with curiosity too. I was reading a
Yeah.
book that led to going to a workshop, and at that
Mhm.
workshop, I had a shift and thought, oh, I could actually do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how I think our paths will always rise up to meet us. And
Mhm.
so I would also just encourage anyone out there who's in the thick of what the hell am I doing? Or is this the right next thing, to lean into your path is calling out to you and
Mhm.
asking your angels or whoever to make it clear, make it obvious, is basically just inviting them to like put the light on the road for you when the road
Mhm.
is already there for you. But seeing it can be challenging sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to help turn the lights on, please.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just talking about, I forget who the quote is by, but I think it was about writing a book. And it's that you can only see as far as your headlights, but you can go the whole way like that. And it's
Mm,
like, yeah, maybe you only know the one next step in front of you, but you can go a long way by only taking that one next step.
exactly. And don't stop. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else do you want people to keep in mind or know about this, or how can they sort of resource themselves as they're in that seeker, navigating all the things and the possibilities kind of space?
Yeah. So, I mean, seekers are my favorite people. And I think what was missing at the beginning of my journey, and maybe in the middle too, was a guide and someone to say, hey, that is interesting. You're welcome to check out whatever you want. That's not on your path. Somebody to kind of keep you on the road of your purpose, but also check and go before you. Because a lot of people don't realize, yeah, you can fall in the pit hole and you can get yourself out. But what if somebody was just like, hey, I put a cone there for you. Let's go around, or let's take a detour. I already know the road's, gonna be broken or whatever there. Let's go this way. Or hey, you have some stuff to clear before we can go this way. Instead of beating your head up against the wall, let's just snipe it out in the bud and keep moving, and get there instead of 2 years, let's get there in 6 months, or let's not waste money on things that are not pertaining to us, that type of thing. That's my true purpose, to make sure people can do that. If you're not at that point, please continue to get information. I have a wealth of information on my site.
Me
But
too.
if you're ready to stop fooling around,
Yeah.
get a guide.
Yeah, get a mentor. Yeah, and
Mhm.
so that was a call out to you if you're listening and you've already got 12 modalities and certifications under your butt and you're still feeling like there's something that's missing, that Charmaine might be a really valuable mentor or resource to help you. Not I'm thinking of my dad now, who is a voracious seeker. He will read all the books and take all the trainings and go to the same conference 20, 40 times in his life. That if you're wanting to stay on that seeking path and that's the thing that's filling your cup, awesome. And if you actually are hoping that that seeking path will lead to something dropping into place and feeling aligned and feeling important and authentic and grounded in you, then hell yes, find a mentor who will help shorten that journey for you. And just the fact, Charmaine, that you work as a medium as well, that you're channeling information from other dimensions and from other ascended masters or angels or beings that have that wisdom to deliver, that I think that's just such an edge on somebody who's going to coach you in this dimension, that the people
Mhm.
who are out there doing this kind of seeking on also a spiritual dimension, that why not have somebody who can tap into that with you, who understands that part of you, who isn't going to just try to coach you in the physical reality when you already know you live on so many different dimensions. So yeah, it just seems like such a huge gift for people who are in that area and in that, turnaround, roundabout, whatever that part of the road is that you can sometimes end up going in circles to find the right exit.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are some of the best ways for people to get a hold of you, or what are some of the offerings or ways that you work with people?
Sure. So on my homepage, I have a place where people can, one, get more information. They can sign up, to get information from me, but also have a free conversation, a 15-minute strategy session, no cost. Hear from their angels quickly. Like, hey, come over here. You're not in the right spot. Like, you're doing okay over there. But come over here. You're supposed to actually be working with this age group, or you're supposed to be using this gift, and just quickly get you on target. And then also, there's time for you to ask, like, hey, I've been trying to do X and I can't get through. Your team's still there. You can still ask and say, hey, that's not really your gift, or you're blocked because of XYZ. And then we can chart out a map to get you where you want to be. If you're not able to use it the way you want, let's find out why. Are you blocking it? Are you being blocked? I talked to someone today. They're being blocked by something happened in childhood. We can wipe that out, move forward.
Awesome. Super important. So, for anybody out there who maybe isn't ready to take the leap or doesn't feel like a necessarily good fit, I'm wondering if you just have some downloads of wisdom that you might like to just, lay on us, because we've got the ear of the world at the moment.
Sure. Well, the first thing is like pay attention to signs. Like you said, your gift is coming to you. We attract to us. And I believe that some people are kind of, I don't want to call them carriers, that doesn't sound good, carriers for a gift. And that someone's not really meant to use it. They pass it on. My parents passed it on to me. They don't have anything to do with theirs. It's been 6 generations since the last healer in my family. So it might be okay that that's okay with you. You don't feel called. It's not a problem. And just accepting that can be really relaxing for someone. Hey, this is not my thing, or this is not my thing right now. And then someone else who's like, I really want to dig my teeth into this, make time to do it. Make time for yourself. Give yourself time before everybody else, really. It's like self care. Get up. If you got to get up 15 minutes early, listen to that podcast or do what you need to do. And then you can go through the rest of the day and do what you need to do, but you're not starving that part of you. It's important.
Not starving that part of you. I haven't heard it said that way, but that's such a valuable way to look at the way we honor ourselves or tend to ourselves or care for ourselves, that that's a part of us that needs feeding.
Yeah.
And the symptoms of not feeding it are like soul starvation.
Mhm.
Wow, I love that. That's just hitting me really hard right now of that is feeding us. And
Mhm.
that's our job, not just to feed, especially as women, not just to feed everyone around you,
Right.
but to feed you. And that's not just physical, that's emotional, spiritual, mental, and so, so important. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
and that's why I said do it first. If you're
Yeah.
like me, you got a house full of people first. Yeah, you
Yeah.
first.
Even if you have to wake up 15 minutes before everybody else,
Mhm.
or an hour, or two.
Right, depends.
Yeah, depends on the person, the family. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Awesome. So what are the best places for people to go and find you? What's your website? What's your social handles and, all that? Where should people go to get more?
Yeah, so the best place is my website. It's recalltruth.com, and there's lots of information there. I have lots of videos and things on social media. I'm mostly in my Facebook group, but you can also find me on LinkedIn. And you can find me on what's that other one? Instagram. You see, I'm not a social media person. I follow my marketing people's guidelines, but I'm not too excited about it. But I do it and I love that I get to educate. So that's the way I
Awesome.
look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say anybody out there who's listening, definitely go to recalltruth.com and join the Facebook group if this has piqued your curiosity or your interest, if nothing else. That's such a nice low stakes way to get into the community and be involved and receive more of this magic. And then I imagine on your website, there's a way for people to book and get a call with you or find out more about working together one on one.
Absolutely. And all the social handles are there too.
Awesome. So you can find
Yeah.
her there. So cool. I know I kind of just asked this, but are there any other words of wisdom you want to leave people with?
I want to speak to all the people who already consider themselves healers. There's a poem that I came across, and it said medicine woman, but it's for anyone that does that work. And it basically, to paraphrase it, it says, they're not going to heal you, they're not going to fix you. We just walk with you to the dark until you can see.
Hmm.
And that's it. For anybody who wants to have somebody holding their hand who has a torch, you can do that. Otherwise, I invite you to find your own torch if that's the way you want to do it. But don't walk in the dark
Yeah.
by yourself.
Yeah. And if you keep thinking there's more torches that you need, maybe look at what torches
Mm,
do I already have?
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
And who
Yeah,
can help
it's
me
already
sift
burning.
through all these torches?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. So cool. Thank you so much for being on the show, Charmaine.
Oh, thank you for having me. So much fun. So much
Yeah.
fun.
Really good. And I'm hoping out there that this landed with exactly who it was meant to land with. And if that's you out there listening, A, thanks for listening. So appreciate you. B, if you know somebody who is maybe more in this boat than you are, I'm guessing, as spiritual people, as entrepreneurial people, as healers and leaders and mentors, I'm guessing you're connected to somebody else who maybe could get something out of listening to this episode. So please forward it to them right now. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for listening and being a podcast listener. We appreciate that about you. And whatever happens, keep asking big questions and taking bold action because you are here for a reason. We'll see you next time.